Oh my heavens.
Oh,
As I live and breathe,
great,
look at us.
dude. It's
Look at
been
us.
it's been a lot. Who would have thought? Who would
It's
have
been,
thought?
it's been like years,
It's been
decades, been decades since I seen your face.
It hasn't been
I.
decades, thankfully, but
It
it
hasn't
has.
been decades yet. We're
Oof. I think we're on the flip side of we could round up.
we truly we would be staring down the barrel 3 years from now at our own high school reunion
That's
for
it.
that project. Dude,
Oh
how
man.
the heck are you?
Well, I just changed the tennis balls on my walker today, so that's great. So I'm feeling great.
Dude, I have been living with a jammed finger for
Ouchies.
like several months now. So I'm with you in terms.
So is it gonna hurt to talk about puppeteering
Oh my gosh!
today? Are you literally gonna have like
We would have
weird
already,
phantom pains?
yeah, we would have already called you in for help because I would have already given up. I would have been like, "There's
We're gonna have to
absolutely
get
no way."
we're gonna have to get all into that. We're gonna spill all the tea, as it
All the
were.
puppeteering tea.
All the puppet tea. We should, right? We should.
Yes.
At least in regards to our collaboration.
Yeah,
And of
absolutely.
course,
Yeah.
the reason that we are buds and have collaborated, is why we're here today to talk.
Yeah, the that particular the Sanders Sides episode, learning new things about ourselves from
Yeah.
2018. We had that ready by the end of 2018, and it's still to this day probably one of the coolest episodes that I've worked on because we had never. It was like one of those first instances for me and Joan of just being like, oh, we could do something as cool as like working with puppeteers and
Yeah.
puppets.
It's funny. We want to get into the whole nitty gritty about that for sure, and how that kind of came
Yeah.
about. Well, talking about that. Well, one, before we get into that, how are you? Like, how are you? How are things? How's the life?
Life is I did a big sigh and a big shaking of my head at the beginning of that, but that's all just because I'm very busy, but
Yeah.
it's a very good kind of busy.
It's a good kind of
The
busy.
fact
I love
that
it. Same.
yeah, I say this with a lot of people, and a lot of people say this with me, but I do feel like it is better to be busy than to be sitting on my hands and like
Your hurt hand. Your hand
my
that hurts.
very hurt. I wouldn't even dream of sitting on my hands.
Just
but
thinking about it is upsetting you.
just saying that, I immediately regretted it.
I'm
because
sweating for you. Just thinking.
But no, I was like, I truly like. How cool is it that I'm allowed to still be busy?
Yeah.
Doing the things that I'm doing. It's a
We
it's a
travel.
big
We travel in the same circles, and
Yeah.
I in addition, now we're connected through the puppetry means and through the great
Yes.
Adam Kreutinger, who we're absolutely going to talk about. But just to
Yeah.
at least set it up for folks to be like, who are these guys? Why are they, like, who's this guy talking to Thomas? Like, they're here for you. They're not here for me.
Dude.
Yeah. But I work in the voiceover realm. This view, it was funny. I was really thinking about the first as I was signing on here, and I was like, you know what? This is actually how we first met. As my webcam goes just glitched for some reason, but it was in this room. I'm in my voiceover booth. That's where I have my webcam and stuff like that. But I was like, it wasn't on Zoom though. I think it was on the Skype.
I think it was on Skype.
It was on the
R.I.P.
Skype. Soon to be RIP, I think too, right? I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
going away by the end of the month or something like that.
Yeah, something bizarre.
Which is wild. But I was like, yeah, this is the first time we met. Was virtually.
Yeah, it was, for anybody who's watching this in our stream that has not watched the behind the scenes of that video, it's one of the only episodes that we did a behind the scenes.
Oh,
on the
really?
stream.
I was gonna ask you about that, and it's so funny. I actually, spoilers. I have a little behind the scenes video that Joan filmed of us, that I have, I found it, and I have it.
I sent it to you.
Yeah. I have it to potentially play that we could look at maybe in a little bit.
Hey, please do. I
think
would
that'll be
not
fun.
mind that.
It's
Yeah,
like a
that-
4-minute thing. It's like a 4-minute thing about that. But I think as we talk about the show of that episode and all the
Yeah.
stuff that went into it, and in addition to, of course, Adam's beautiful puppets that he designed, because
Dude.
I want to ask you about that. I'll kind of turn the tables and kind of just be a little interview of how your collaboration of designing and building those beautiful puppets for that episode. I want to talk about that. But yeah, I have a little clip of behind the scenes video of us shooting it in that day. But yeah, so we collaborated on the Learning About Ourselves. I literally just watched it not too long ago. And I hadn't seen it in a while. And my goodness, it really does hold up though. Like it's so all your content across the board, I think does hold up. Even like over now, you've been doing this for a while now. You've been making the content for a bit. But even when like you were starting, like even back on the Vines, when you was on the Vines, which I would love. You know what? I'm so happy we're talking about this because I was talking to I work with a lot. We travel in similar circles. We work with a lot of fantastic creative people in the entertainment industry, and I was having this conversation not that long ago about Vine. And again, that is no longer here because Twitter killed it. I think Twitter got rid of it.
Back when Twitter was Twitter.
When Twitter was Twitter.
Get rid of
we do sound so old, right? And it wasn't that long ago. But we're like, say back in my day, the Twitters were the birds and the Vines was 6 seconds, and you had to be the reason I loved about Vine is because it was only 6 seconds, right? And it was on a loop. And, you know, now the TikTok is like the like Vine on steroids.
It is,
if you will, right? And then
everything is getting onto TikTok standards now,
right?
So like
but you can see like the genesis of TikTok from Vine, especially. But what I loved so much about your stuff, and I had known your stuff on Vine, and Vine for me, even as an entertainer, as a performer, something about that particular platform and the constraints that you had, like 6 seconds. You had 6 seconds to do something, and not only that, but it was on a loop. So not only did it have to hit in 6 seconds, it also had to work as a loop, whether it was like something like created where it just like looped and it was like a cool thing that it looped, or if you're doing something funny that, you know, because something can be funny really quick once. But if it's funny every 6 seconds, that is a skill. And you, my friend.
Well, you have a couple rules to go with that. Number one, end in chaos, because that's people want to watch it again to see the and that has fallen through for any short form content, TikTok, Reels, or otherwise. The other one, you can play off of the fact that it loops by kind of making a commentary of a cycle of destruction, or you know, something that exists. And 3, in terms of, I guess, what you're talking about with the stuff holding up, I guess it's like I've always wanted it always made me so happy to be able to make something that a kid would laugh at and an adult would laugh at. And it's something that's, I guess, the happy medium there is sometimes that corny humor that is like dad jokes are successful for a reason.
Exactly.
Unabashed kind of corny humor is
and now look at like the YouTube videos that have millions of views of like two people like telling bad dad jokes, and the first one to laugh loses. Like those are huge videos now.
I'm not surprised by
that. And so anyway, it's me complimenting you in that your creativity and the thought and the work and the effort and stuff that you would put into your Vines that then translated into your YouTube channel and into Instagram, into your more longer form content. And not just because I was a part of it, but I think that all of your beautiful creative sensibilities, but also who you are as a human being, now that I've had gotten to know you on this particular video, really shines in this video. And when I rewatched it recently, I was like, my God, it really does still hold up. And there's something, it's in the similar way of like, there's a reason why Sesame Street withstands the test of time, you know, for 50 plus years, right? And that's kind of, and that was the, you know, that's the through line of the video. It's like, how did we used to figure things out as kids, right? And then using the comedy aspect of it too to make it puppets, but making it that much more engaging. But there's such the balance of humor and heart and morality and like important stuff, especially for youth. I think it's just beautiful stuff that you always put into your things. And I think that is just, it's incredible. And I equated you recently. Maybe let me know if your ears were burning. I am not even kidding you. This was not too long ago when they just announced the season 4 of Ted Lasso, the new Ted Lasso. I don't know if you watched Ted Lasso or like watched Ricky, but like Ted Lasso when it like hit during COVID was like this like show that brought everyone together. Like everyone like unanimously adored this show. And when I started watching, I was like, yeah, they have, and a testament is to Jason Sudeikis, but also Brett Goldstein, who I think is the head writer. I feel the same way about Shrinking, the show Shrinking, that's also on Apple TV Plus.
I've not seen that yet.
Woo, dude, it's so good. But arguably, hot take, I think it's better than Ted Lasso. Come at me in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. But they're both beautiful. But my long-winded story of this. Can you tell that we talk for a living, Thomas? Oh my goodness.
I was like, this is like ADHD conversation 101. Like,
right, but it's all comes together, dude. It all will make sense. But because I literally brought you up in casual conversation talking about Ted Lasso and Shrinking, and how what I felt was the beautiful thing, the thing that they did that's so hard to do is to simultaneously hit you in the heart, hit you in the feels, and also make you laugh hysterically. And sometimes back to back, sometimes in the same scene. That's how good Ted Lasso is, and Shrinking especially, of really making you like, oh, and then also like uproariously laugh. And it's really hard to do that balance. And I literally was like, there's one guy that I know that can do that really well. And I brought you up. I'm not even kidding. That happened not like more than a couple weeks ago.
First of all, this is very kind of you. All of these, I was not expecting to receive that.
Thomas Edders, this is your life, and now I'm gonna bring in all the people you've never ever known. No.
But what you're talking about there, Joan had described it at one point as, I think it's because you have ethos, pathos, and logos, but there's a special kind of like writing medium called bathos, which is that mixture of, you write it
in the bath when you're taking a bath.
In the bath
when you come up with it.
Yeah, the bubbles inspire you. That's how I need my baths that way. But it's like this mixture of comedy and serious. I guess people call it sometimes dramedy, but it's that mixture that you're talking about that I like playing in if I can.
For sure.
And I had always like going to the Sesame Street aspect in that episode. It was one of those things where sometimes we have a video idea that we want to talk about something important, but sometimes we have something where we want to develop the characters and then we have to figure out what the video's about. In this particular instance, I believe it was literally purely because I wanted to do a video where the characters turn into puppets.
So that's what it was. You were like, I just want puppets.
Pretty much. And we were like, okay, how do we create something? How do we style a video around it that would involve that? And it literally goes to the fact that Sesame Street was a very important learning tool for so many people growing up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it is very perennial.
Sure.
It's still. Yeah. And we were like, how does that tie to how we could be continually learning as adults, and could puppets kind of still capture that same, be that medium for learning. And it did kind of stem from there. And I love it. I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to create something that I knew really helped me as a kid, which is where a lot of stuff stems from. Anything that made me excited or laugh or move me as a kid, I was like, let me try it. I want to
bring that to life, even to the the newer generation, right? The young, And I think there is that element, like I said, with Sesame Street hits with kids. Since we have worked together, I have a son now.
Yes,
he is 3.
That's so wild.
Isn't that wild? So I have a son now, and he's 3, and I see how just through it's been amazing to view life.
Yeah.
And it was one of my most exciting things about becoming a father was like to view the world through his eyes and to just be able to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like to see him get excited about something that we all take for granted as old jaded humans, right? And seeing a toddler starting to really like walk around and explore the world and learn new things is such a beautiful thing to watch, and also a hilarious thing to watch, and also a terrifying thing to watch, and all of the things, right? But he loves, and of course, Dad's a puppeteer and Dad's a voice actor, and Dad knows a lot of the Muppet people and a lot of the Sesame people, and so he's gotten Abby Cadabby sending him videos. He's gotten Bear from Bear in the Big Blue House telling him that he smells good. He's gotten personal videos.
Dream.
He's got personal videos from Blippi. I mean, he knows people now. Breck Begle, my son, he's in the know. But even with that, I've watched, I've played old versions, classic scenes from Sesame Street.
Yeah.
And just to see, and connects to it in the same way as a kid did back in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? It's really amazing to see him, and he knows everybody, and watching just a young, impressionable mind connect with these characters and learn from them and laugh with them and enjoy them and be able to. And it is that power, and I talk about it as a puppeteer, how the power of puppetry is such a powerful form of storytelling. I use it a lot in my voice acting coaching that I do. I coach a lot of youth actors, coach a lot of actors in voice work now as well, but I pull from my history and my background in puppetry, in that aspect of storytelling. And because of puppetry is one of the oldest forms of storytelling that we have as humans. It's one of the oldest ways that we've connected and told tales. Aside from painting things on the walls, taking objects and moving it, the elephant or the dinosaur or the bear or whatever was attacking me, telling stories that way, it bridges language barriers, right? You can tell beautiful tales with zero sound, even shadow puppetry and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a powerful aspect of being engaged by something animated. Animation is part of that. Something that is different than what you are inherently used to seeing as a human-to-human connection. But there is still some sort of human element to it. Thought and feelings and movement that we recognize as life, right? Regardless if it's human or not.
Truly. And it still works magic on me.
It's magical. And I even with adults, when you bring a puppet to life, and I'm going to bring a puppet up that Adam built for me that I use in for a variety of things that he made for me specially to match my Beagle booth colors and stuff like that. I'll bring him up a little bit later.
That's so cool. Okay.
But yeah, even bring it up, and I'll bring it up on Zooms, and just a Zoom room of jaded adults, and they immediately smile. There's something inherently, that we gravitate towards. And I think Jim Henson was really knew that immediately, and knew that kids will sit and pay attention. They will watch these characters as they move and talk to them. But the other cool thing was those characters never talked down to kids. Even the human characters in that show never talked down to kids. Some of the characters were kids, right? So the kids could see themselves in that. And so it was this really beautiful balance of, telling these stories and teaching them how to spell and teaching them how to count and things like that.
I love that he also Jim Henson.
There was Jim.
You've heard of him.
Yeah.
He very much saw puppets as not just being for kids.
100%. Yeah.
And he was able to tell these stories that I think he also hoped not only appealed to kids that might have
everybody. And it does. That's what I'm saying. It transcends time. All of us that grew up with Sesame Street still have this affinity and fondness for it. And want it to succeed and want it to keep going, right? Because it's been such a paramount thing. Yeah, I said, the power of puppetry hits everybody. Do you remember the show War Horse?
The play War Horse?
Yeah, they did
and I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips of it, and it's incredible.
With the horse, spoilers everyone, the horse is a puppet in War Horse. The show, not the movie. In the movie was the Steven Spielberg movie were they were actual horses.
That was the most advanced animatronic horse.
Right? Yeah, animatronic and CGI horses. But in the show, the horse is literally for all intents and purposes, a wire-framed horse. It's not skinned, It's a shape of a horse, and it's wire-framed, and it's controlled by, 4 to 6 puppeteers at any given time, and the puppeteers are completely visible. They're not hidden. It's not like they're trying to hide behind the curtain and make you believe this horse is alive. This is what I'm talking about, the power of this. It's a full see-through wire-framed wooden horse that within a matter of seconds, no one cares. Immediately, you buy it immediately that horse is alive. And I was in a crowded theater at Lincoln Center when that show was first came on.
Oh, wow.
And a whole house of spoilers. Bad things happened to the horses in the show War Horse. Spoilers, horses did not fare well in wars, everyone. Sobbing. Just a whole hundreds and hundreds of people just weeping openly at a wire-framed horse.
Oh, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how powerful it was. And, like, you didn't even see that, like, it wasn't distracting. I mean, like, there's 6 people doing this next to it, you know?
The clips are so wild to see because obviously they worked so hard to study horse movements.
Yep.
And it's so...
Don't we all?
I know. It was a weird sentence for me to say.
I am still in... I'm getting my MFA in horse movement.
Yeah, it is
studying very hard.
It was so realistic that you're just like,
right? Yeah, they have.
What are they doing around the horse? Like the horse is obviously alive, and they won't leave it alone.
But I mean, again, at the first you're noticing all the people that are doing it, but after a while they just, they all become meld as one, right? Yeah. And then that's similar. You know, Avenue Q has a similar process where they didn't hide the puppeteer, right? The puppeteer and the puppet were like right next to each other, and they become one thing. Yeah. Right. And that's a cool thing.
That doesn't surprise me at all, then, that if you bring out a puppet during voiceover teaching,
they're
not looking at you anymore.
No. And as a puppeteer, spoilers, you do a lot of kidrins. You do a lot of kidrin shows. And doing shows and then do meet and greets afterwards. And let me tell you, I can stand there, sit right there in front of them, and they are not looking at me. They're looking at whatever character they were just watching for the last 30, 45 minutes and talking. You know, I'm not doing ventriloquism. I'm not I'm not like trying to go, oh, hey guys, what's going on? No, I'm just full on, but I may as well be invisible. That's how powerful the puppets are. It's really a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing. So go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you've watched Very Important People. Have you watched the Dropout series where they improvise an interview?
No. It's on Dropout TV?
It's on Dropout. And there's
I got to check it out.
There's a whole episode where a guy...
I do subscribe to the Dropout.
It's great.
I do like some of the game shows. I haven't seen the Very Important People one. I'm partial... Right now, I'm in the middle of Dungeons and Drag Queens.
Oh, I freaking love Dungeons and Drag Queens.
Those are all my queens that are on it too.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm gonna be on an upcoming episode of Actually, so stay tuned.
Ah!
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yes.
Actually, I wanna.
There was no puppet questions, not that I can remember. But...
actually, I wanna do that as well. Actually, I recently watched one and I was like, ooh, I am not nerdy enough for this. I'm just not. I am not. I don't think so. It's like I gotta turn in my nerd card because I didn't get. I was not as good as I thought I might be.
Here's the thing: what they do, and this is an insight. Well, I didn't know we were going to get into an insight on.
I love it. It's organic. I love these kind of chats.
To make you feel like you will come in at least doing well on something.
Sure.
They give you a form and basically like just list some of the things that you nerd out about.
That you nerd out on.
So and they can make sure there's at least one question that's going to be featured that you know
that you'll be able to wax rhapsodic upon.
Yeah, or you appear on a very special episode that's all about puppets and Muppets and stuff like that. Like
puppet stuff, voiceover stuff, just general movie trivia stuff. I'd probably be okay with.
Yeah, there was a whole episode about thrillers. I did very badly on that thriller episode. I'm not.
Well, you gotta let me know when your episode drops because I will absolutely watch it. I'm excited. That makes me so. I just got super excited about that.
Yeah,
I do love Actually.
I was very excited, but the Very Important People, one guy gets a puppet and a whole look, and he has to do a whole interview as himself and this puppet. I don't know if he's ever taken puppetry, but it's literally that where The host was
You'll be able to
very
tell.
transfixed on talking to the puppet and
Yeah.
not to the guy.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole thing, is that the puppet was far more interesting.
Oh, for sure. And you've heard tales from like, in the classic Muppet Show, there was always a guest star, and they were always some famous star of the day in the mid 70s, right? And and I've heard interviews where like it was one of the easiest things ever because the puppeteers, everything was raised and the puppeteers were all done. So they're always acting with them, but they had no problem just like, I'm happy to just look at Piggy and look at Kermit and engage with everybody. It's such a cool thing. So to bring us back to task, you wanted to make something with puppets. How did you end up getting in contact with Adam Kreutinger?
Oh my gosh, what was that process like? That I don't think we ever talked about, or I never learned from you like how you got in contact with him for the puppets. My one thought to that is, I think what happened was we were brainstorming on who we could potentially collaborate with, and either Joan or Talon had seen Adam's channel.
His Puppet Nerd channel.
Yes, on YouTube, and then they just suggested, why don't we reach out to him? That's how it goes with anything.
I love that. Well, but in the inception, you wanted to we want to make custom design our puppets for the sides. You didn't want to just go get a silly puppet off a rack and do it.
Well,
which a lot of people might
want to. You just actually.
Oh, did I spark a memory?
You jogged a memory. So we did actually first think we could do it ourselves. So there's even a photo, and I'll find if I can find it. But it was a picture of us gathering supplies that we thought could match the characters' skin tones and match what we were going for. And we got them from Joanne Fabric. Again, R.I.P. Joanne. I love Joanne Fabric. Trying to construct.
We're really dating ourselves, aren't we?
I know. No, it's all going away this year. But we realized very quickly this was going to be a hard task. We figured we could potentially do the paper bag puppet for Patton, that because we knew we wanted to do specific ones for each of the characters.
Right.
We figured it just would be best if we could get somebody to help us, and then that was when that idea came. Most of this episode was a pattern of us going, we can do that. No, we can't. Let's get a professional. Because that was this episode. And then we reached out to Adam, and he was so kind. So the back and forth was very, very easy. And you were asking about the design. This is I got hats off once again to Joan, because Joan's also an artist in their own way.
I think I remember seeing the sketches.
We might have sketches.
Yeah, we might have taken photos with them next to the sketches at some point.
Yes,
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, Joan knew that they had a very particular idea of what these should look like,
and that's awesome. That's what I love. That you guys came up with this really cool, creative version. I was like, well. Because these again, and it all stems from character, right? And it all stems from, you have a these sides as characters, as their own standalones of really fleshed out characters, especially over the course of all the different videos and stuff that they've done, that they've been in. So the fans and the audiences, they know who they are, but it's what I love that as a fun creative process of what would they be when they just went. And if they popped into a puppet, what would they be? That's such a cool thing.
Yeah, we've had a number of people at our Patreon, or just the fans watching, reach out and ask, because we've introduced new characters, and they were asking when they gonna get a puppet? Yeah, what kind of puppets would they be if they were turned into puppets?
That's
and it's
fun.
A really fun question, because again, you're right. That's a fun brainstorm of take any medium and then put the characters in your series into that medium. What would they look like? And that's just fun, because they all have an aesthetic to play with.
100%. And I think from side to side, just came to me. From side to side, they really the paper bag, the lunch paper school bag for Patton. Yeah. It's just they fit the characters so beautifully.
Yeah.
Of this is how they would see themselves. It gave me the vibe of I was recently having a conversation about Roger Rabbit. I mean, when am I not talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit to somebody? But like if you went into Toontown and became a Toon version, like bloop, like what would you be? It's kind of like that kind of thing. And it's like those,
Truly.
it fit really well. So you had this really great idea, and then you
we
saw the
submitted-
Puppet Nerd channel, and just reached out to Adam and were like, hey man.
Reached out to him. He was like, I think, obviously the usual things, getting a timeline, send me some thoughts and ideas of what you're looking for. Joan sent these sketches and Adam replied, he said, something to the effect of, this is by far some of the best detailed designs for a puppet I have ever seen. This is going to make the process very easy to
Love.
And-
Yeah,
and-
no, I'm sure, as you can imagine, as a professional puppet builder, which I am not, but as I know and work and love many of them, Adam being one of them, that like, when somebody goes, hey, build me a puppet, and we need it to look kind of like this, and it's just like, oftentimes they're just like, why don't you talk to me out what you want, and I'll sketch it. I knew Adam would do that a lot. I know some other puppet builders that kind of do that for people that may not have such an artistic inclination. But I bet I know that was like such a like, this is great. This is great. Because, and I'll tell you one, even just from like a client perspective, at that point, you're like, I'm going to hire you to help to bring this to life for me, right?
Yeah.
From a client perspective, going, okay, I want to work with these people because of the work that they already put into this thing that they want for themselves. Does that make sense? And just being able to see that, you go, oh yeah, I want to work with these people.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was.
So I'm sure that made
really
him so
lovely.
happy.
Yeah, totally. And I'm sure that some of these things were like the designs and some of the materials that we were looking at were going to be a very out of the box. And I think for him, that was like a very fun challenge for him.
Totally.
Like, I think it was like pie in the sky. We kind of wanted Logan's eyes to light up. And that's I don't think there's a lot of puppets that's an immediate thing. And I think
because spoilers, Logan becomes a robot.
Yes, Logan robot, Logan robot puppet, and Adam just took that in
he was
stride.
Like, ooh, yes, please, yeah, sure.
And then he didn't just create a paper bag pattern. He took like a material, like a rubbery material, and turned that texture into what looks like a paper bag.
Yep.
And what you get is inevitably a puppet that is far more durable.
Exactly. Can you imagine like the stuff that we were doing with him in this video? We'll show some clips of it. Him like him doing like that. How he would have had if it was gonna be a real paper bag. He was like, all right, I sent you 30.
We would have gone through so many.
I sent you 30 patents to use.
Poor Patton's little paper arms.
Quick! I need another patent! Quick!
Oh my gosh. And so it was a beautiful hand-in-hand Jones designs with Adam's craftsmanship.
Yeah, just a really beautiful collab you guys did, yeah.
It was so cool. And so obviously by the time we got those beautifully made puppets,
and Roman is basically like a classic Muppet, Antron fleece, beautiful, like huge head, big chest,
a huge head, and I think it was specifically that we wanted him to have a big old head to match his big ego.
Yep, exactly.
Big chin, yeah,
big
big
chin.
Pronounced chin.
Yeah, it like I said, it makes it like that's exactly how he sees himself in puppet form.
Yes,
100%.
Exactly. And I love a sock puppet. Just makes sense for Virgil, just with his own aesthetic. Like it's very patchwork.
Maybe even like almost like maybe it's just like a dirty sock in the hamper kind of vibe.
Very Nightmare Before Christmas themed.
Yes.
In terms of
with the button eyes and everything.
Yeah. So Ragdoll is very him. So like that worked really brilliantly.
So great.
And so obviously at the same time we were trying to teach ourselves how to puppeteer. That's where you came in and we started with these. Well, it was a Skype call.
I was like that. So I got this beautiful call. I got this great call from Adam, knowing because we live in the same state.
Adam connected us to you.
Correct. That's what brings us all together here.
Okay,
So
great.
you guys were doing that, and you and I, we live in the same state. I'm only like a few hours away from you, and
Oh yeah, right.
Adam was like, who do I know that's close by that could also, because he wasn't sure. It's like, are we gonna do it remote, or maybe could he go there and do like a little workshop, like a one-on-one workshop? And I've taught puppetry workshops for everybody, like Puppet 101 stuff, and I've done it for years, and I still get to do it. I still do it over Zoom for a lot of kids, and Adam was doing the same kind of thing, and so that's when he was like, would you be interested in this? They're interested in talking to you. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And then we hopped on, and then you and I think started texting or emailing, and then we set up the time, and we set up our Skype call for our Puppetry 101 crash course workshop,
which was very freaking cool.
It was cool. We had a blast. Honestly, it was a blast. And you guys were and again, I will say, like, from a person, like, I'm being hired for, a client has hired me to help them do something, right?
Yeah.
From that perspective, like, you guys, it was unequivocal that you guys cared so much about how this looked and how this would be presented, right?
Yeah.
And this was my first interaction with you, having seen your stuff and known your stuff, but saying that, like, you care so much about your content. You care so much about what you put out into the world. And that came through in just us talking and getting to know each other, and then, me learning like your process and how you film the show and things like that, and like, great, how that's gonna translate into this, and then basically running the gamut of, like, here's what to expect, here's what you got to look out for, this is what you're gonna be kind of doing, and this is what, and a lot of just lip sync 101, because you kind of said, I don't know if it's spilling the beans too much, but like, you pre-recorded, you shot and I don't know if you had done it before you might have already done it.
This actually is for anybody watching, this is a Patreon bonus. If you go on there is a whole version of this episode that just features our going through it with the motions, no puppets.
Oh, great!
So that they get a full idea of what it.
Right. So you shot it. You shot it like you normally shoot it. You almost cut it together like it was a full episode, marking like, these are the parts where the puppets. But you did it as, like, reference, basically. You basically shot reference video.
Yeah. For us to know
for the puppet moments,
how to act out everything. Yeah.
And then you capture and you record. You capture your dialogue live too, and on camera too.
Yeah.
So that was super helpful.
References. Yeah. We basically just acted our way through it so that I could choose the takes that I wanted, so that we knew what to lip sync the puppets to.
Right. And that was important for me to know as the puppeteer. It's like, are you doing this live, or are you going to be lip syncing? And you're like, we're going to be lip syncing to the shot. And I was like, okay, cool. That's gonna buy you a little bit more wiggle room for things too. And so long story short, we ran through. I think we were on for a good 3 or 4 hours. So we did like a real long session.
It was a long.
Because we only had because you kind of had a tight turnaround. You're like, we're gonna be doing this soon. Got to get this out. So yeah, and then it was like, all right. And Godspeed, my friends. Fare thee well. I wish you all the best. Let me know how it turns out. And then I'm gonna tell you my side of the story. I feel like it was like a week later.
Yeah.
It was like a week later. At the time, I was doing puppet stuff for Halloween Horror Nights, and I was doing puppetry elements. And it was like 10:30 at night, and I get a text from you going, "Hey man." I vaguely remember going like, "Hey man, any chance you be able to come to my house tomorrow?"
Did I say tomorrow?
Yeah, it was the next day.
Oh my god!
Any chance you can come to my house tomorrow?
We were really hauling it.
Yeah. You were at it was crunch time. And
wow, you know what it was? It was probably because we had a brand deal and we needed to get that video out with the brand deal that we had.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was a Skillshare. Maybe it was a Skillshare thing. I think it's a Skillshare video. But it was like, any chance? It's like, we've tried, and this is what I will say from a professional's perspective. The fact that you even said, this isn't working the way it needs to be, or the way we want it to be. It's not looking the way we want it to look. we need to do something, because there's so many creators out there, again, and I talk about it with puppetry. People are like, it's puppets. Psh, it's super easy. Not only did you go, you know what, I want somebody to show us how to do this.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you how many people do not do that. They're just like, it's puppets, super easy. Just put that sock on my hand. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Do you know what I mean? And that shows. So the fact that you even did that, I was like, great. And I left myself open. I was like, let me know, please. I'm happy to help you in any way. And then, it was like, can you come tomorrow? And I was like, I'll be there, man. And we made it happen.
What a freaking trooper you are.
And I drove in, and you were so kind. I was like, I can come, but it was like, I need to bring my dogs, because it's going to be all day. I don't have my dog, and who have since, R.I.P., they have both passed away since then. Jack and Bean, which I know we have videos and photos of them. They were so good during the whole shoot. I know Joan and everybody was happy to have them. They were so good. They were old at that point.
So good. I was like, dogs?
You're like, bring them. Fine. And we did. We shot like all day. We did like a whole day shoot.
It was yes.
And I ended up puppeteering all of the parts. I did all of the puppet elements for each one. We did each character at a time. We did one character at a time. I can't remember the order, but we did one character at a time. And then I think we shot some fun. Then there is some fun at the end of that video, I think. You can see there's some dual stuff. It's me and you, I believe.
Oh, yes.
Doing some dual ones. I'm doing Roman, and you're doing Patton, and then I'm doing Logan, and you're doing Virgil, and in some of the like doubles. Little Statler Waldorf moments at the end of the video.
Gosh, yeah, that was where the little bit of training pull through. But
it was
I
great.
can tell you what was happening on the flip side of all this for you was, number one, the reason we wanted to get on that Zoom call was because if we were trying to convey the magic that I felt when I watched stuff with puppets when I was younger, we needed to do it right. And we felt, why not have somebody teach us how to do puppetry? Like, this is like one of the, this is where you get reminded that life is an open world game and not a linear narrative. Like, you can just do that if you want to. And so this was our reminder to do that. And in that class, not only were you teaching us about puppetry, but you were teaching us about, like, a lot of people don't do this, and it really shows. And when we went in and did it, we really wanted to do you justice for the time that you dedicated to it, Adam justice for his amazing puppets that he created, and just like the artistry of puppetry justice. And let me tell you, here's the two things that are really hard to get right. opening the mouths of the big puppet, that's very hard.
Yeah, he was fresh, so he was fresh, so he was a little tight.
Yes,
he was snug.
And secondly, oh my gosh, it is so hard to judge how high up you need to put the puppet to be shown, and not showing your arm, and not showing just head with the whole body missing. We were struggling.
Sure, and it's one of those classic things, and I teach people with, like, just keeping your hand up in the air for more than a couple minutes at a time. All of a sudden you're like, oh, and then you're gonna add. Now, like, even with Patton, but I think I think you showed me some clips of you, like, doing Patton, and it's funny, again, as he's going and you're talking, because it's a bag puppet, so you're, like, doing, like, everybody's playing with plastic bags. It was kind of like doing this. Then, but you could see him, then he's just sinking.
He sinks.
There's
so much sinking.
And then a lot of, like, and this is classic stuff where people are not used to doing puppets, not only puppets, but puppets for camera. Where you have the frame there, right, and you get that set, and then all of a sudden, and if you're holding on the hands, they have the hands of the puppet are on arm rods, and you're holding that with one hand, and it's doing the Ricky Bobby thing where all of a sudden hands are coming up, and he doesn't know. He's like, I don't know what to do with my hands. A little bit of that. It's very funny, and then you're just like, oh man.
Truly. And that was what it was. Like, me and Joan were, like, switching off every 10 minutes.
That's right. Right. You guys are swapping.
My arm's not strong enough. And you're right. Like, what we were like, okay, I'm not even doing this right. I don't know how to work in the arms. What do we do with those?
Yeah, that's what
it was so late at night. We were up against a wall, and Joan was just like, Nate lives in Florida, right? And I was like, he's not going to be be And they were just like, well, it's just worth an ask. Let's just do it. So that's, I guess, what happened with the text message, because
it was like 10:30 at night. So it has to have been right at that point. You're like, you guys were like, Oh no, man. Oh
You
no.
say it's 10:30. I gotta tell you, it felt like it was 1:30 in the morning for us because we were
Yeah.
like,
It was late. It was in the
you
evening is what
felt-
I'm saying. It was like maybe 10:30, 11. It was late for
Yeah,
sure. But I'm
yeah,
sure
you-
you guys have been trying all day. And it's
Yes, you very
exhausting. Just
well
for
might have
everybody,
been.
you learn like it's not as easy as everyone assumes it is.
No. And truly, I was like, yeah, it might have been 10:30. We just did it. We felt
Sure.
lost.
You guys
But
were
like,
wiped.
yeah, you just never, you don't. It's true that I think we were thinking, we really were gonna try and learn how to be good puppeteers in a week. Like we were like, this feels a little bit of a.
But what I appreciate for you, even after you tried it and did it and then looked at it,
Yeah.
you having the position to go, yeah, that just doesn't look good, or like that doesn't look the way I want it to look, right? It doesn't look like the way it needs to look. Where a lot of people don't necessarily have the wherewithal or the foresight to even recognize that. And spoilers, there's a lot of bad puppet stuff on the internet. And it's people that don't have necessarily the proper training or don't have the necessary or haven't really, it's hard to say. And I'm not trying to knock anybody doing it, but I have seen it having done puppetry professionally for over 25 years and worked with so many different projects, so many different things, and seen the discount that is often set with puppets. It's like, let's just do this. Or it's like, yeah, we're gonna do a puppet, but so and so, my nephew, my cousin's gonna do it, or my nephew's gonna do it. He likes puppets. Like he likes puppets, and he'll just do it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so for you guys being like wrapped in it and like doing it, you very easily could have been like, well, good enough. You know what I mean? So I appreciate as a puppeteer. To go, you know what? I want these puppets to look good. I want the show, and I think so. I appreciated the call, and I was more than happy, one, to switch things around and go, yep, I'm going to drive up there and spend all day and do it because we jived right away, and I was so happy to be a part of it, and it's a beautiful thing.
I appreciate your kind words there. I do feel like if anybody saw the stuff that we put together with what we could do, that's
what needs to go on the Patreon.
Well, there's.
I thought you said it was just like the human version is on Patreon.
Yes, but there are snippets that we did include.
Oh, is there? Oh, good.
In the behind the scenes featurette that we have on. It may not actually. It's not on the main channel. It's on the Thomas Sanders and Friends channel.
Gotcha.
That'd be where you could find it. But yeah, it was very rough, and I'm very thankful that you were able to come with your dogs. And I don't know who you started with, but
I can't remember either. I feel like we might have started with Roman.
It might have been Roman. It might have been Patton. It was one of those two. And I just remember as soon as you did it, me and Jen were like, this is so much better. It looks so good. I'm so glad we were able to do it. The whole day we were like, this is a dream. Because literally we spent, I think, an hour trying to get Roman to say 2 lines. I think we barely got through 2 lines in an hour with Roman, and we're like, there's no way we can do this. And you were zooming through these, and just everything was so good.
It was awesome. We got into a really good groove, which is really great, and it was helpful. I've been doing this one for a long time, also really good at lip syncing to things, and so the fact that you even had it laid out in the shot, like you could play the shot of him and the line, and so we kind of went like bit by bit, line by line, and just try to capture it. You would hit playback, so you were sitting right next to me. You were in the passenger seat the whole time. You often right-handed for me, at least for Roman a lot.
Yes.
We did a lot of right-handing for those who might not be aware of what that term means. A puppeteer is controlling a puppet, and one of our hands is inside the puppet, and then the other hand is holding one hand. And oftentimes, depending on the gesture needed or designed or created or come up with at the time, I'm controlling both arms with one hand. Right.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes you'll see puppets are kind of sitting there, or you'll drop one and just one hand will gesture a lot. But yeah, there was definite ones where you would hold you were my right hand for Roman for a good a couple bits. I actually have brought up the show just to show a clip for our purposes here of the show, of like right when Patton turns in, and we kind of scrub through just to kind of show the puppets, and we're talking as we're talking about it. But I have your YouTube channel up, which of course I'm subscribed to. Look at this young guy. Oh, look at how young. Look at how sweet, fresh, baby-faced he was.
I love it.
But this is the moment.
Okay, so how's this gonna work? Are we all gonna have our own puppets, or... Oh, sorry, kiddo. I just always wanted to do the old Kermit. Yay! Oh, me too. That's what I was doing. You definitely didn't actually scare me. You're a dork. Look at you. Yeah, cute puppet, Patton. It was. I was just a little caught off guard. Just a little bit. Thanks. Yeah, I figured we could do something simple and fun. You know, no need for anything too extravagant. All right, here's what I threw together. It's nothing special, really. What do you guys think? Did I overdo the chin? Wow. Maybe, but you look great, Roman. Oh.
Yeah, the whole, like you were saying, and
being able to, you in that take, you were moving both the arms.
Yes, yeah, I'm doing it there. Yeah, whenever you see his hands kind of doing this, I'm holding them at the same time. Yeah, but what you were saying about Roman, like he's big, his chin, he was heavy. He was very heavy.
Yes, this was that line that
and
you could not get through.
You know, not to knock the original performer of Roman, but he talks pretty fast, and that was kind of hard to do with a heavy puppet. And that's what you were saying, like
in Sander sides.
But like, so and this is what we had talked about. We're gonna do a little fun puppetry 101 of like, you know, you might need to, you know, doing this does not really serve you well as a puppet, when, especially if the puppet's talking fast. So you kind of have to learn how to, and it takes some practice to drop syllables. And so if you watch this video, you'll notice that during your faster times, like, even though you're like, all right, da 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 da, like that's your rhythm of that. But I'm just doing this. I'm just kind of going da 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 da. Right? It's like 1, 2, 3. It's like so you kind of skip syllables, but so it's not, the puppet's not so erratic, and you still buy it because there's not actual lips, right? So you totally buy that. Oh yeah, I just imagine that the tongue in there is doing the thing. But it's such a beautiful puppet. I just want to point out some of these. Like this is the paper bag. Oop,
perfect little replica of
Virgil
Roman's outfit there that Adam did.
Yeah, the
looks better than the actual costume.
And like you said, that looked just like a paper bag, and it was like Tyvek material. Yes. It was like this like intense, durable, like like he's gonna last forever. The way he designed.
And I intend for them too.
It's do they still live in just hiding in there somewhere?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna have them for the live stream.
Oh, perfect. I love that. Yeah, I gotta bring him out to say hi. But yeah, like, God, he's so gorgeous. And also another fun thing, we kind of had to. It was mimicking. It's not the exact same shot as when you're standing up as a human. There, we kind of had to augment the shot a little bit. But I don't think you still buy it, right? It's. Still, as long as the lamp was in there and you see a little bit of the TV, that was all that mattered, right? That was all that mattered.
Formula. You got to have a little bit of the TV and you got to have the lamp.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, such a beautiful puppet. And then, of course, Virgil. I want to play my favorite moment here in a minute. Oh, there's Virgil as the, it's hard to get the thing to pause where I want it to pause.
Sweet Coraline!
Great job.
Yes, I am a puppet here to take you on a magical journey through your feelings.
And the fact that his arms, this one was great because his arms were sewed into his little hoodie, and it's so cute. Those cute little arms. Oh, and the purple hair, it's just gorgeous.
It's great with this one too because he's a little bit closer to the camera, and that worked because he's a tinier puppet. So you were able to kind of.
And that's the staircase behind you, yeah.
Yep, and you were able to kind of just mimic that kind of.
And it's all about with him, the way it's designed too. It's all about, it's a kind of a trick for puppeteering is not doing this. You don't want to do this when you puppeteer. It's all about dropping your thumb, and that's all he is. Just my hand was locked right here, and him just doing his lips. It's just doing this. It's just dropping the thumb.
So we're going to be making some sock puppets for this live stream on Saturday.
Nice. Perfect.
yeah, hopefully some people who will be doing or will be watching the live stream will be making their own sock puppets. Would you have any like advice on, I guess for you, puppeteering the sock puppets?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of what I was just saying too. Like, if you're gonna do, are these like Adam like pattern ones, or are you just doing it just as are they just
These
like
would
generic
be
pattern ones? Yeah,
literally,
just eyeballs. The trick is too with sock puppets or even with hands. If you put eyes on there, what you want to do is not do this. You want to practice not opening your hand like this, but instead just think of dropping your thumb. And when you do that, you'll notice your fingers already kind of naturally jut out a little bit. And that's all you need to do. And that's how you're going to keep the eyeballs. Well, bury the lead a little bit, just since we're talking about puppets. This is an Adam.
This is a blast from the past. It feels like I'm like.
This is just like we're literally jumped back to
yeah.
6 years ago on our Skype call.
So
this is one of Adam Kreutinger's Snoof's puppets.
Oh my gosh.
That he made a bunch of, and he made this one custom for me
yeah.
to match my booth. So he's black and red.
Oh wow, that's perfect.
He also had a hat.
And look, I'm not even looking at you, Nate. I'm looking at the
Oh
puppet.
yeah. He also just to let you know, he also had a hat to match mine.
Yeah.
My new dog, Rocky, who you've not met yet, is a
I have not.
very scrappy like Bean. This is a picture of what he did look like. Adam actually took this picture for me when he made it. So he had a hat to come into my booth, but my dog has since ate it. And he also made it with magnets. So there's magnets in his head and magnets on the hat so that it just magnetized on.
Oh, I love that.
So I need to at some point like redo it. I never asked Adam to send me another hat. I don't think I ever told him that my dog ate my hat, man. Can you make me another one? But anyway, that's what he looked like in his heyday. My son has since named him. This is Benny the Booth Buddy.
Benny.
He's a booth buddy, but
how do you tell a puppeteer or a puppet maker that your dog
ate his craftsmanship?
Yeah.
So he's very similar to a sock puppet in many regards. In like he's just one little piece, and then you're gonna put your hand in the sock part, and you're gonna make have your mouth here, and hopefully have two eyeballs, right? And so once you do that, this is what I was doing with just my hand, and it's all about just dropping the thumb so the eyes remain staring at your soul, Thomas. I'm staring right at you. Right.
You did this when you were teaching us puppetry.
Yeah, man. Because I have a
things
couple
like that, and it really does get me, man.
But yeah, it's so fun, right? And so I bring him up. I'm like, hey, all right, now I'm gonna take over the Zoom now. You know why? Because Adam would want me to. For I am his creation.
I love the looking at you. That's so good.
What? What? Nothing. Oh, he's so unprofessional.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
You're right. Like it literally, I don't know what it is, but
you're not looking at me. You're looking at.
Perfect.
I want you to look at me.
It's so
Oh, puppets! We're here. Puppets is what brought us together, Thomas. It is what was Adam's artistry that brought me to life. Look at his look at his eyebrows. They're just like off to the side. There's so much. This is a very simple puppet, but he put in so much beautiful character to it. And I'm obsessed with him, so I bring him out a lot. He's my little booth buddy, and I bring him out when I teach puppetry to kids and stuff like that, and just to lighten up some Zooms.
Were you initially reaching out to him because you were like, I want a puppet to use for classes?
No, I literally. So Adam and I go way back. We've known each other for many, many, many years prior to even our collaboration.
Yeah.
We go way back to the start of, I want to say 2007, 2008. I had and I hate to sound like one of these guys that's like, I was doing it before everybody else was doing it, but my buddy Dan Becker, who you may know, he's Disney Dan, he's a very popular YouTube guy now. Disney Dan, it's really fun YouTube channel. He and I were puppet brothers and did a lot of shows in New York, and we jumped on the podcast train pretty early. and we started one of the first puppet podcasts, one of the first puppetry podcasts. And it kind of started to gain some traction because we were living in New York. We were doing shows in New York. We were working with all these talented puppet builders and performers and writers and all of our friends in Henson and at Sesame Street and in other puppet projects that were out through. New York is a really beautiful mecca for puppetry storytelling, and so we were like, we want to shine a light on these folks and get them in. And we got everybody on the show, and Adam was very nice in the earlier days of the social media. Do you remember Periscope?
I do remember Periscope.
Oh my gosh, we're showing, our age is showing again. So Periscope, friends, before live streams, was like the first like live stream thing.
Yeah.
And so we were on Periscope early. We did Periscope like live podcast recordings on Periscope. And he would chime in on those a lot. And so we knew each other through the puppetry circles. He was in Buffalo, New York. I believe it was in Buffalo. And I was living in the city, so we traveled in the same circles, worked with and collaborated with a lot of the same people. I did a lot of work with a company in New York City proper called The Puppet Kitchen, and there were a bunch of puppeteers and puppet builders as well, and I believe they had collaborated and done some stuff on that. So anyway, we had known each other and we had worked with each other's things. I had worked with his puppets on projects and stuff that he had built, and went into production for things, whether it be stage or stuff for the internet. Like Yahoo back in the day was doing its own Yahoo original stuff, and they were doing a lot of puppet stuff back in there. So I got a lot of weird puppet things that we're doing for Yahoo. There was a show I did called Losing It with John Stamos. That
is.
So for Yahoo, a Yahoo original, it's really hard to find now. I think there's like random episodes on YouTube now, but Yahoo had this show, a series, and it was John Stamos chatting with celebrity friends of his, talking about the time they lost their virginity. So Losing It with John Stamos. So they would talk about the infamous tale of how they lost their virginity, but it was then, as they were sitting and talking, it was then cut to like a dramatic reenactment of it. A la like Drunk History, like Drunk History? And so Drunk History was just taken off, and I think they were capitalizing on that. And so these stories were being told by animation. Some of it, there was some claymation stuff. There was like live actors doing it very Drunk History style. Like the interview was recorded, and then they would cut to, all right, and then the actors are lip syncing to whatever the guy's saying or whatever the girl's saying, right? And then they did a few puppet episodes. So like that's the kind of stuff that Yahoo was doing. So I did a few of the puppet episodes of Losing It with John Stamos. Adam did not have anything to do with that. That was just a long-winded story of like weird stuff on the internet with puppet stuff is all I'm saying.
Do you remember which celebrities?
Oh yeah, I did Perez Hilton.
Okay.
There's a Perez Hilton one. And then Casey Wilson, Michael Rappaport, and Michael Vartan were the four episodes.
Sounds familiar.
Michael Vartan was on Alias, if you're a fan of Alias. Most people probably know him as the love interest to Drew Barrymore in Never Been Kissed.
Ooh, what a
deep
movie
cuts.
That is.
So, again, celebrities.
Yeah.
Not to knock Casey Wilson, Perez Hilton, but Perez Hilton, I got to play. Perez Hilton talks about the story of, before he was out, he would pretend that he wasn't, and he would have girls over for movie nights and stuff. But all he would kept thinking about was the Marky Mark underwear poster on his wall. Mark Wahlberg's Calvin Klein underwear poster.
Sure.
So there's a story. I got to play puppet Marky Mark.
I was going to say.
In a dream sequence coming out of the poster.
We had a puppet Marky Mark.
Yep. Oh, yeah. It was a puppet Marky Mark. Anyway, stuff like that. So through all those circles, and then he engaged a lot with us on the podcast, and like we started to open it up, and then he ended up getting us guests to talk to, and like, you should talk to this person, and so we got to know each other really well and chatted all the time through that medium. And then he's even been so kind to go on record, I believe, saying him and his buddy Cameron Garrity started their own puppet podcast called Puppet Tears.
Oh,
Tears. Yeah, which sounds sad because there is like a little tear on it, but it's all happy stuff. It's not sad.
Oh.
It was a play on words. They just Puppet Tears. And I have a little screen share of it. So we ended up doing a lot of collabs
That was
when
gonna be a
they started
podcast
their
where celebrities
podcast.
come on and
So
talk
here's
about-
so here's like a screenshot of this. Is Adam posted this. The age is 2020. Okay, this is 2020.
That's what I'm saying.
When we did, okay, so 5 years ago, almost coming up on 5 years ago. Him and Cameron. Yeah, so this was during COVID, I think. Yeah, it had to be April 2020.
Yeah.
So we did this big collab of like the two puppet podcasts talking, and we had a lot of guest people. Noel McNeil, famous Bear in the Big Blue House. James Voitel, another phenomenal puppet builder. And this screenshot of whatever I'm doing there, who knows? And there's Dan. So we did a lot of collabs like that over the years, and then Adam started doing his own puppet camp and was teaching kids how to build puppets. He had this whole like 5-week course fully set down. He was such a beautiful, because this is about Adam. I mean, he was such a beautiful artistic soul, and puppets was like a big passion of his. And his YouTube channel, go to Puppet Nerd, subscribe to it still. He's got amazing tutorials to teach you how to build a puppet, step by step. And also really beautiful art. Like he was an artist. We also bonded. He was a magician. He used to do.
Really?
He was like a really good close-up magician.
Oh man.
Just could not have been, and had just the most amazing shock of like silver white hair. I was so jealous of his hair always. It's just gorgeous.
He truly loved teaching. Like that was the one thing that was like a very consistent passion.
Exactly, and he was very kind of to ask me to be a guest teacher for some of his puppet camps. He would tend to brought me in for the voice part. Because then they would build a character, and then it's like, all right, now let's learn how to perform him. Let's give your character a voice, and so I would get brought in for the voice part. And start working with all the kids and their little puppets and learn all the character, what their names were, what their personalities were, and talk to them, and then discover building that of like, well, not too dissimilar to the sides. Like, I designed this, and this is his name is Jimmy, and he loves pizza, and all of these little things that they're saying, and he gets really sad, but he's scared of his shadow and stuff like that. Like really fun little things, and talking to them and working with them on like, great, like, so if he's really scared of his shadow, what would that do to him? And he was like, you'd be really nervous. And I was like, yeah. And then maybe he'd be a little scared and he would shake. I was like, yeah. And then what does that look like when he's scared? And then so walking them through that, like walking him through the very if he's scared he would shake, great, what would that look like? And then him taking the puppet and like shaking it. And I was like, that's the kind of stuff. And then if he was nervous, how would he say hi? And they'd be like, hi. I was like, perfect. That's the voice. That's the voice for him right there. That's what I kind of did with some of his puppet camp stuff.
This was in Texas with where he was at?
So this was remote. I mean, no, because he was up in New York, and so this was all online. He opened his puppet camp online. So there was kids from all over the country.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And he created this custom kit. Like they got sent when they'd sign up for the workshop or the camp, they got sent a whole box of everything they need. Everything they need to step, and then he would be with them every step of the way to build the character, and then by the end, they would perform it and they'd film it. It was so beautiful. Cool. Yeah, it was a really, really cool thing. And that's just, again, passion, like a thing that he just loved teaching, loved kids, loved his kids. I mean, he was just could not have been a nicer, more giving, talented individual. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I got to know him and work with him on so many different things, and I'm so grateful that he put us together. On bringing your stories to life and those characters to life. It was, I think it was a really beautiful thing. And like I said, not even just because I was a part of it, having not watched it in a while, I watched it like cold, right? And I was like, God, this is still so funny. I have to play my favorite joke. I have to find it. I think you probably know what it is.
I think I have a guess as to what it is.
It's my favorite moment of when Roman's getting upset.
You mean that I am not down to do this? You are correct.
What?
Big surprise coming from No Funds and Honeydew.
So many good
second
puns.
edition there. Made it. Stuck the landing.
So that was a good one. We did the snap. And do you remember this moment? You were like,
I
how are we
do.
going to get him to snap?
The
And I was like,
snap
well,
was-
I was like, well, Thomas, we're not going to be able to actually have him snap. I think we talked, it's like, we could do like a quick cutaway and like almost do like one of these, but I think I'm just going to hide it underneath the frame and just do this moment. And you're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, let's try that. And you're like, oh, that looks good. You're like, yeah, that looks like he snaps because he's not actually snapping.
Was my initial idea to just like, because the fingers were bendable, was my
Yes, yeah, the
idea
fingers are
was
posable.
to-
Yeah, well, because I remember that vividly because we were like,
Fingers
okay, he snaps there. So how are we? And you were like, how are we gonna get him to snap?
I'm such a doofus sometimes.
No, you're not a doofus. That's just how you're like. This is what I did. He snaps in this moment. How are we gonna do the snap? This was way before Thanos.
Yeah.
How are we gonna do the snap?
No.
But again, that's such a simple little thing that you can go, well, how are we gonna, and there would have been a way that we did just a close up and almost did like a stop motion version of it going click, 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 click. Like we could have done that, but
This
I was
is
like,
where you get like the
it's just gonna be so much easier if we just
the cloth Muppet gloves.
Yeah.
Like Cookie Monster has, and you do
Oh
that.
yeah, that exactly. I was like, yeah, I think we might have talked about it. I was like, if Roman had live hands, then we totally
like
that
the
could have been
Swedish
hilarious. We could have been like, Adam, ship us some live hands real quick. Just for this one moment we need to cut to all of a sudden Roman has live hands.
Like,
Aw, Logan,
these-
come on! We need you at the table if we're gonna be learning. Please, it has become quite clear that
And I remember you laughed so hard because every time he was doing, I would just make him
Oh
do
my
these
gosh.
little dances, and
You
you're
would
like, stop
do-
it, it's too cute.
You would do things with Pat.
If we're gonna be learning, because I would hear that, it was like that just feels like what he's doing.
It was so good. It was so good.
It was just so well. Again, like I said, it comes from good writing, and like you gave me such good inspirado to hear it, and like it's exactly what he's doing at that moment. I just think
that me co-signing all of your ridiculous antics is just a formality. When all of you decided on using puppets to address a serious issue, logic was already figuratively thrown out the window. Again, you don't have to use the word figuratively. We know
There's
that you want
Thomas
literally
talking so
thrown
fast.
out of a window. How? Have you been watching me constantly? Don't assume, Roman. You know what happens when you assume. You make an ass out of Sue and me. Thank you, Patton. I just don't want to concern anybody by suggesting I was thrown through a window. I wanted to communicate 5 by 5 that I'm 5 by 5. It's okay, Roman. His intentions are there. I mean, who does going above and beyond with clarity hurt? Going above and beyond? More like going overboard. It's stupid. Ah! Ow! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! You hit me in the eye! You hit me in the eye, you freaking book germ!
Jeez, Al, that was pretty rough.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that was.
all of all these little looks
Maybe I
that
should
we
go.
were doing.
No! We are not about to leave it there, mister. We can't continue
funny.
this convo if you're gonzo. That's right!
It's a little-
Logan,
little
you can
point.
be like one of those Sesame Street human friends. Like Maria? Like Maria.
Dude,
Okay.
I
mean,
kid you not, anytime I hear Maria, I go, like Maria. I do, I say that in life, I'm not even kidding.
a more accurate comparison would be that you're our big bird and we're all your
Snuffleupagoats.
Snuffleupagoats. Pre-1985, before they canonically confirmed that Snuffleupagus wasn't imaginary. Of course.
I hope this is on your, actually. Snuffleupagus imaginary, like, actually, pre-1985, where he was canonically, you do it exactly like that.
We should have had more puppet-related questions in our episode.
Clarity. Okay, so
Yeah.
your puppets. Care to
Here we go.
explain to me how this is going to help? Well, we could start by having an open and honest conversation about our feelings.
That's the Kermit.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't like that. I'd rather go live in a garbage can. No, really, this is important, guys. Thomas, you have to face your feelings head on. Tell me, do you ever feel
So funny.
like a paper bag?
It's
Well, I
still
thought we were
funny.
talking about a loop. Well, how do you suppose we get out of the loop, Mr. Looper? Well, I guess I don't know, but I mean, like, what do I have to feel bad about? mean, really, like, yeah, I feel iffy with my videos. So what?
Again, this is that balance that we're talking about. It's like
the
these
problems
really
I
smart,
have wouldn't even
sweet-
exist without all of the incredible privileges I've received. What? Exactly. Boom. Look, dude,
Oh, this
if
is
you
it. Oh,
fix
this is
the
it.
problem, well, Logan's got to cool it with the deadlines. What? Oh, thank you. Too much pressure. Oh, I'm sorry. Except I'm not. Are the deadlines really the cause of that pressure, or
favorite
is it?
joke coming up.
I don't
Still
know.
funny.
Roman's inability to perform adequately. No. Well, it's a little of that. What? Exactly. Boom. Look, dude, doesn't it make sense to
There was
think you
lots of
have
good-
something to do with this?
So
The
many
issue has to
gestures
do with
there.
creating content and his pride? That's a lot of you. Well, pardon me. Vomity Central. But when were
Had to put a
either
big
of you the
V.
experts on creative content? Who are you to criticize my work? Oh my gosh, what is up your butt? An arm! Okay, I think it's
That's
clear
the moment.
that pointing
And then-
fingers is
I
getting us
called it.
nowhere.
I knew that was your favorite.
So let's
joke.
avoid that.
So that's the moment we said we bent his fingers like that to make a fist,
Yes.
and you're holding the other hand at that moment, an arm, and then look at it, and then that, bring it in, just that on that side. It's so, but yeah, what's up your butt?
That's
An
so-
arm. It's, I mean, come on, it's
I knew
right
that
there.
was gonna be your favorite joke.
It's still
called
good.
that.
It's still good. It's still so good. Yes, please. Please.
There
If
was
you
so
have not
many in
seen
there
this
that-
video, go watch this video. It's
it
so
was
good.
a lot of fun. There was so many of those character-related puns that I wanted included in
Oh,
there.
I bet.
I can't remember. I don't know.
Can't remember. I can't imagine what was on the writers' room floor of like, nah, not that one, not that one.
We pretty
Lots of
much
good ones.
kept a lot in there.
They're strong.
Yeah, there was. I knew I wanted Maria mentioned. I knew I wanted to mention like do a pun on Mr. Hooper. And there
Yeah.
was just so many that I was like,
And like calling them Schumann friends.
it was such a
So
playground.
funny, the snuffleupa goats.
Oh, that was a Joan. Joan did that one.
So good. I mean,
That-
you guys.
that
I
was
mean, you
hilarious.
guys are like peas in a pod, and you guys know how to
Ugh.
like write for each other.
Yes, I
So well.
love them.
So then we just showed that Roman bit. This is the behind the scenes shot of, so everybody could see that Roman shot of me and Thomas
yeah.
and Joan. I'll make this a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Can
you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just so he's just like he does
so
not want
cool.
to talk about his feelings. Oh, let's
Yeah.
and it's like a lean back.
And that's how it would be. Like you were.
yeah.
And that's kind of what we did. You would play the clip, and then I would go maybe like this, and you're like, yes, or you're like, oh my god, that's what. Yeah, like you were like, it was such a great. It was so good to have you like right there, because one, we could see
Wow.
there's a monitor, so we can see what Roman
Yeah.
looks like in the shot,
Yeah.
and right next to it is the laptop with the thing that you previously shot, and so
Yeah.
we're watching that. All right, now we're gonna shoot this little bit, and you would just back it up, and we'd play it a couple times so I could get the time, especially if it was a long one, I could get
Yeah.
the timing of the line.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we did it a couple times, but yeah, we would try maybe like this, and you're like, yeah, for any of those like reactions and stuff like that, I would just throw something out there and you would be like, yeah. And this is a fun moment behind the scenes because you were like, you really get Roman. And then I just started to like do Roman as you next
Yeah.
to you, and that's what happens here.
That's
perfect.
good. I like that. I don't think you have to lip sync to this one
And that's
either.
see,
This is
he was
one of
tight, so we just started. And I was like, oh, gotta get my hand in there.
So Patton is the one that just said this.
And that was important too because I was like, okay, so where is he looking when he's talking
Yeah.
to so and
It
so?
might not be fast. It might be too fast, but maybe he's looking at Patton, right? And he
Yeah.
kinda goes.
Yeah. That's perfect.
And there's me, like I said, holding both hands.
That's really good.
It was wild. It was so lovely just getting to direct and then seeing the
I like
puppet
that.
like
Is
immediately.
there,
do what
Yeah,
I was
and here's
I want to see maybe if
This is there a-
hand on the chin might work. at
Yeah,
this part, or maybe not. Maybe.
yep, and there you go, holding the other hand. I'm like, yeah.
It's more like with him though, versus him being like kind of like not into it. It looks more like
He's really into it. Oh,
Let
okay.
me think about that.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the way he looks. If he does this, it looks more like.
And this was the cool balance that we were saying. You're like,
Thinking about it.
I wonder what it would look like with him and his hand on chin. I'm like, yeah, totally. But then it
Yeah,
kind
trying to
of,
get
you see
across
how
it,
it looks
we're
like
just
he's the thought is different.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
got that. You're
I
right.
think just the head tilt is gonna give you more, because if he does this, then he still looks like he's kind of thinking about it, and that just makes it more awkward too, I think.
And that's only because,
Small
honestly,
subtleties. I
but
like
like that instinct of yours going, I wonder if he was like, but because of his design and the way his chin was,
Yeah.
in order to, it didn't read as if he was going, thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
and
looked like, well, it didn't look, or like, well, it looked like, because his chin was so pronounced, it would look like, almost like the thinker, like, I'm thinking.
I love your innate ability to like know from a puppet's design how a gesture is going to potentially come off.
Yeah,
Like,
and
was
that
so
comes, well,
helpful.
thank you. That comes with a lot of practice and
Yeah.
working with many different puppets and kind of having a general sense of physicality and going,
Right.
you know, but a lot of the times it varies per puppet, right? And if nothing else, I'm like, well, let me try this. And you're like, oh, yeah. And we can both go, yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't look right.
Right.
So let me try. What else can I do to? And that's the nice thing about having the frame, having the shot of. That's why puppeteers need that, so we can see what the audience is going to see. We're seeing the final shot as we're doing it, so we get to dictate exactly the way we need it to look. And so that's why it was so beautiful to collaborate with you and stuff like this, and to be able to, even though we were like, we have only the day to do it, we still had room
That
to
blows my mind.
to
Dude.
play and find it out. And I think it all comes together. It all works. Because we got options too. I think we did a few options, and then of course
surprising. It's
Yeah.
surprising how subtle you can be with a puppet that will still.
It was
read
such
more
a.
than
It
what
was
you think.
so
A lot of people
fun.
think you need to be.
this is what we were just talking about. It's like me giving you a little bit more. Here's Nate's coach hat on. It's like how you can be way more subtle with a puppet more than you think you need to.
Yeah. Right.
Because of even the littlest thing can make a big change in the puppet.
Yeah.
That you need to be, Kermit the Frog, yay, all the time with a puppet, but it's actually less can be very much more.
Yeah, I'm
and
seeing
more,
a lot of that.
especially for like the humanoids. Like he's not like a monster or an animal.
Right.
He's a human being with a face, nose, eyes, everything that you're registering as a human. So you want to kind of.
And like finding breaths, finding gasps and stuff.
You got Roman down.
Nice to be seen.
It's nice to be seen.
Do that intro. We'll do the intro.
Oh, we need to show you. We
We'll
need
do
to show you
intro
the
for
one
vlog.
take to Camilla. He looks at the camera. Oh yeah, you want to
Just do the intro of the
Oh,
vlog.
yeah.
We're all
This is a
puppet.
fun.
You
We
just-
go into an improv
Okay.
scene here, me and you.
Nice to see you, Roman.
Well, it's nice to be seen.
He does a better Roman than me. I think we got a good replacement in case I go into retirement.
Understudy.
Just saying.
Just understudy.
Just an understudy here.
That'd be amazing.
I
There's
wouldn't
certain
ever
videos where I'm
replace
just
your
like,
precious Thomas.
I'm gonna be Roman today. I didn't feel like being. Thomas didn't feel like being here, so this is gonna be me. And Nate's doing all the puppeteering. I'm just sitting behind the scenes, voice acting.
You're just sitting on the couch with a microphone. You have the Rode mic, and you're like, "Hey, it's
Yeah,
me,
that's something
Roman."
I'd do.
All right.
That's something I
He's always checking in. Is that
great.
right?
Thomas?
Okay. Thomas
Line.
says that was good, everybody. Line.
All right. There's a mic. I'm cueing you in. There's a small speaker in the lamp.
That's my favorite.
Don't look at us, Thomas. Don't look at us. It's nice to be seen. It's what? It's nice to be seen.
It's nice to be seen.
That was good. That was good. Yeah. I think I would have done it better. What? I think I would have done it better.
I can't work like this.
Oh, it's nice to be green.
Good
I
stuff.
love it.
Good stuff. Good
I love it
times.
so
It was
much.
good.
That was a
times.
great day. Like we were still having fun amidst all of that.
Yeah.
Through a song. You lip synced through a song and everything. It was great.
That's right. Like if 4 different parts.
Four
of
different
the
parts?
song. Yeah.
Well, you did, Logan.
3.
Logan didn't have. To
Logan
do.
doesn't do the song. Logan comes in
That-
at the very end.
Honestly, thank God we only had to do a little bit of Logan near the end because the positioning you had to get into.
Yeah.
Chairs in the couch. was not very accommodating.
Yeah, I think I had to lay down.
You did.
I was laying down straight.
It was the toughest puppet to puppeteer, so thank God it was just a little bit.
Yeah, here's that. We didn't show. We showed the other puppets. We should show what Logan looks like.
No. How to get back to my normal self? I seem to be stuck. Well,
Yeah, and you were doing my arms on that one, I remember I was laying flat down and holding him straight up because he was big. He was and he was heavy because he had like servos and stuff in him. And yeah, and so you were holding the other hand with me. You were such a good right hand because you kept it right, even with
I'm glad.
with everything. I feel like, yeah, you were like off to the side, or you were either laying down with me, or you were like off to the side, holding it like that. You learn really quick, like I want to see if I can find our little moment together of us at the end. And you gave both Adam and I a lovely little shout out.
Amazing puppets. I've fallen in love with all of them. And they were all brought to life by Nate Begle. He came in and dedicated a whole day to make this video happen. Puppeteering is way harder than you'd ever think it would be. We realized very quickly we weren't going to be able to master puppeteering in the short amount of time we had to get this video up. So Nate stepped in, and Nate is wonderful at it. You can check out everything Adam's creating right here, and everything Nate has to offer right here at their websites. Thank you guys so much for making the video everything it was. It was awesome. I loved it. My favorite part of the video.
There's
the end
Thomas.
card? Yeah. Because of our unfettered silliness? Nope. Because it's almost over. What are they doing? It's a puppet bit. Just ignore them. Boy, I can't believe Thomas worked out another issue. Ugh, is there anything he can't work out? Yeah, his body. I have no idea what this is, but this is highly entertaining. Oh, boy.
Those lights and the eye,
now that
look,
that's
it's so
all
great.
settled, I'm ready for a little relaxation. Well, I got some good news for you. What's that? You'll get a lot of relaxation because it'll probably be another 6 months until the next Sanders signs. If you guys are right about that one, I'm gonna like freaking lose it. Agreed.
So good.
Dude, I love it so
So
much.
good. So, thank you for hopping on. I'm sorry I can't. Sorry I can't be on with you for the live stream. But I'm so happy we could able to do this. And if you choose to play this whole thing, you get a 2-hour break. Go eat a snack while you play this for everyone.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure how I'll go about doing it. If I'll cut some things up and
whatever you want, I'll send it to you. Use it at your discretion, good sir. But I could not be. This was so long overdue anyway.
It was
for us to just catch up and talk, and it's so good to see you.
It's so good seeing you too.
Literally, we feel like, oh, it was so long ago when we did that puppet thing. But honestly, rewatching it again and watching it back, it was like I remember it like it was yesterday. It was so. And that's one of those great things, and I love, collaborating with fellow creatives that love what they do, that really care so much about what they do and how they put their art out there. It's like, and then when you get, people that jive, humors jive, energies jive, and you can have fun doing it, and I think that shows. I feel that way as a voice actor, and I tell everybody that's getting into it is like it all stems from joy. I say that with puppetry as well. The foundational element of what you and I do in our respective careers and things is joy. And if you don't love what you do, if you're not loving it, if you're not enjoying it, then something's missing. Right? And if you love what you do and if you love while you're doing it, like that comes through. I think that comes through in the content. It comes through in the performance. The authenticity of that love and joy comes through. And to bring it back to Adam, that is like nothing if not authentic love and joy that stemmed from him. That like emanated from him in all of his artwork too, in the later days of his life while he was battling this just unfathomable battle that he was battling for 2 years. Was drawing still and even though he was losing a lot of motor function, wasn't able to do a lot of the stuff, but he would still make some art. And they had in his hometown, they were doing these beautiful galleries to showcase his art. It was really beautiful. He was just a beautiful man, just a beautiful human being.
I think that's why it touched me so much, because you're right. Like, I think when you see somebody out there unabashedly chasing their passion, you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's power. It resonates with you, because you're just like, that's exactly what you're trying to do. And
Yeah.
you know, as I've like, you know, we've been doing this for some time, it really has been this evolution of me kind of stripping away this worry about anything else other than doing something that it makes me happy, focusing on the work that makes me happy. And Adam's such a good example of that. That it's like,
and doing it to the end.
Yeah.
To the very end, literally.
Which is what I would aspire to do.
100%.
You know, like
100%.
It's such a good example to follow, you know, with the life that we're given. And yeah, I think that's again, this whole episode, working with so many cool people, doing something that
because puppets are cool, man.
Yeah,
puppets are cool.
It's like, it's magic.
It is magic, and like I said, I share that sentiment with you, with a lot of my fellow professional colleagues that are far more esteemed in the puppetry world than I am, and have been doing it a lot longer than I am. I've been doing it for 25 years, but I work with folk that have been doing it for 40 to 50 years, and it's magic, bringing these characters, any character, to life in that way. And even for that one audience member, that one kid, that one person, you know, like, you have such a great reach that your videos touch a lot of people. But, you know, even if it's just that one, you're like, and I think you're one of those creators, I'm one of those creators. Like, even if it's just that one person, I've done my job. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think, if
I brighten someone's day, if I help them through something.
That's
you and I had talked briefly. We had texted, because we've texted a bunch over the years, even though we haven't really got to hang out since that day. Really, I don't think we've seen each other in the human world since then. But I felt the same way. I got to, for a couple years right before COVID, I got to tour with Mystery Science Theater, and I got to play, you know, those characters, and talk about, like, but again, right, like, and I think we had even bonded about that before. We had talked about it, like,
I was flipping out when I saw that you were doing that. I was like, they are like my heroes.
Yeah, same. I mean, it was like getting to work on that show in the live version of it was like the culmination of everything that I have, like, ever done in life, meshed into one. It just made sense.
It was just like full circle.
Yeah, it was really like the serendipitous moment. And I've talked about when I auditioned for that show. It was like, I've been auditioning for this. I've been preparing to audition for the show for like 35 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped land me the gig. I mean, it just all worked. But more to the point of that, me bringing that up, is that I saw firsthand that is a show that is indelible, left an indelible mark on a lot of people. And we would do meet and greets after the show, you know, 1,000 seats theaters, just uproarious laughter, which is nothing better. Like, it's just nothing better than to go out there crack wise and have people just laughing. It's just the greatest feeling in the world. But then afterwards, getting to do like these meet and greets with these people, and we had a moment. I'll have one interaction that I'll never forget. It was an older lady, and not to bring the room down. But it was an older lady, and she came up. She paid a VIP ticket to come take pictures with Joel and with the bots, right? Like, that was everybody take a picture with the bots, of course. Who wouldn't want to take a picture with the bots? Right. And she came up, and she was like, thank you, guys. This night was amazing. She's like, this show means so much to me. She said, my husband died like 40 years ago, and I was devastated. It was very sudden. I was devastated. And she said the reason that the show means a lot to her is that she was flipping through like sitting depressed and flipping through the channels, and that show came on like Comedy Central. This was like either in the late 80s or the early 90s. She was like, this was in the early 90s.
Comedy
My
Central
husband just passed. And she said, your show was the first time I had laughed in like a year, in like full years. The first time I just naturally laughed. And since then, she'd been a diehard fan of the show. And like she shared us that story, and it was so beautiful. And we were all like, should we hug?
Yeah.
So, like we all gave her this hug, and she was just so happy to just like have a moment with the bots, even though we're these upstart people that were just doing it live. These are not the bots that she loved back in the 90s. But her sharing that story of like the show means a lot because this was the first time that I ever left. Like I said, you know what I mean? When you just touch that one person in doing something, bringing some joy, and getting a lot of people. So we got a lot of those. Like a lot of people talking about this show got me through hard times. This helped me through a tough time to just laugh and get away for a little bit.
Yeah, it really does still blow me away whenever I hear something like that from somebody.
And I'm sure you have heard a lot of you've gotten many things like that your videos have helped kids go through stuff, especially like some of the subject matter and stuff that you tackle. Like helping them, something even deeper than our particular video, but helping people that are having the same questioning things and not sure what to do, and you giving them that little hey, it's okay kind of thing. It's so
it's self-therapeutic for me because a lot of times, like the one I'm currently working on is
spoilers exclusive here. Tell us what it is.
I feel like whoever's gonna be watching this, I think I've been public about it before, but
they're probably shouting. They're shouting at the screen right now. We know.
Yeah,
it's already out.
I'm working on one that's purely for me to. Well, it was initiated because I wanted to talk and work through something that I was dealing with, and maybe it will resonate with someone. But it's primarily something like we did one on intrusive thoughts because Joan dealt with intrusive thoughts a lot when they were younger.
Sure.
And to do that video, you have to do it involves research and kind of like personifying intrusive thoughts in a way that kind of like takes the vinegar out of it.
Right, kind of like what Inside Out did.
Yes, and it helped
with like sadness, personifying her.
It in a way, doing these videos helps us.
Yeah, I mean, I've told like what Sanders' sides. So to just talk about Sanders' sides again, like just the theme of it, of how it's like the sides of your personality, and then they become their own personality. Like they become they become personified, and just telling that people are like, that's genius. I'm like, yeah, I know, and he does it really well, and it's really funny.
How I stumbled into it, I will never understand, but
that's how I feel. Yeah. So you know what I say? It found you. I say that puppetry and voiceover like found me, and I've gotten to tell a lot of stories and tell a lot of tales and make a lot of people laugh through doing this, and it found me, and it's part of who I am, and just that's part of who you are.
So cool.
And it's a special thing. It's a really special thing. And my goodness, our collaboration was so special to me. It resonates with me still as one of my favorite things that I've ever gotten to do. And I got to be Crow T Robot. And your video is one of my favorite things that I've ever gotten to do. So you're in the top 5, my guy, is what I'm saying. You're in the top 5, Thomas.
That means a lot, and I agree. I think that's why this meant a lot to me, because this is one of the
and I was sorry I was the one to like break the news to you about Adam's passing.
Well,
I felt compelled to.
It made a lot of sense
because of our triumphant connection. The triumvirate. We were the three of he put us all together, and we got to create something really cool. So I'm happy we got to talk about it and celebrate Adam about it, and we got to do something again. We definitely
do it again.
Puppet or no, but
whatever.
I live in this 4 walls, man. I'm happy to go out anytime, but I'm happy to meet with you while I'm in these walls.
I have a desire at some point, in some form or fashion, to make use of the puppets again. So
sure,
I'm gonna be texting you whenever that happens.
Anytime, my friend.
But
anytime.
Truly, thank you and Adam both for making such a happy memory for me and Joan and so many who watched it. It was such a lovely memory of a project. So I look back on it so fondly, and you all made that possible. So I thank you.
Yeah, it's truly my pleasure. No thanks necessary. Where's my thank you?
I'm so sorry. I completely forgot about
Benny,
you.
the booth buddy here. What did you do to my arm, you idiot? You idiot! Oh, people are watching this. Oh, he's so unprofessional. It was twisted.
Gotta watch out for
It was
him.
twisted, and he did not untwist it. But when did you get so aggressive? You're supposed to be all like cute, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, who knew you were such a diva?"
If I got my arm twisted, I'd be kind of bent out of shape as well. No pun
Right?
Right.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank
Nick.
you, Thomas. Thank you.
Well, Benny, thank you for your
Oh,
time.
you're so welcome. You're so
You're
welcome.
right.
I know this was about me, but, I was graced into existence by the one and only Adam Kreutinger. His hands were upon this beautiful body. What is happening? It is late.
I'm
It
gonna
is
let
late.
you
He
guys
is.
go.
It is way past his bedtime.
Well, I can understand.
It's like my toddler slips in. He loves Bluey, so he slips into an Aussie accent when he gets loopy tired.
Louis. Well, I will let you go and attend to Benny or your toddler or whoever else might be needing your attention at this time. But Nate, thank you so much,
Thomas. Thank you. I'm so happy we were able to
catch up.
do this little thing and catch up. This was fun. It just happened to be recorded, and maybe some other people will enjoy it as well.
Absolutely.
But in the guise of folks, please go to Puppet Nerd, follow it on YouTube. They're gonna keep that YouTube up, and there's so much good content on there, and Kreutinger puppets, and just look up the stuff. Adam Kreutinger Puppeteers. You can see on his podcasts, still on YouTube. Puppeteers, spelled Tears. A bunch of episodes. I got to do one solo. It's not fun to watch on YouTube because my Wi-Fi was awful and the webcam is just so it's just better to listen to it. But really great chats about the puppet world, and if you're interested in puppet building,
that sounds
he's
awesome.
Adam was just a master craftsman and created beautiful work across the board for a lot of things. And of course for the Sanders sides, which are stunning. I just love them. They were so fun, and they were so fun to play with.
Yeah,
and bring to
you
life.
did such a good job. Are there any socials or projects that you would like people to know about?
Ooh, plugs. So I hopped off of the socials when my kid was being born, just kind of as a talk about #mental health. #clarity.
There.
Right? So I'm not on any of the social medias other than the LinkedIn. So you can find me on the LinkedIn. I do have a YouTube page, but NateBegle.com, which you saw in the video, it's my name. You can probably see it here in the Zoom window. Just NateBegle.com. You can see a lot of the stuff that I'm working on. You know a little bit of this life, having done some of the voiceover stuff that you've done. I have a lot of NDAs at the moment, the things I'm waiting to un-NDA.
Sure.
But yeah, there's lots of cool series and things like, and I've do a lot of right now. Primarily do a lot of animation. A few video games that happened before the strike and are in production. Video games you record like 3 or 4 years ahead of time before they even come out. But I have a couple games that are coming out that I'm doing a bunch of voices for, and a couple series. But I'm also doing a lot of dubbing. For especially during COVID, the dubbing thing exploded because during COVID and during the strikes, where nothing new was being made, and then other countries were like, "Hey, we want English voices on our cartoons," and so I got to have a bunch of those that are coming out pretty soon as well. So yeah, look at my IMDb. I think some of them are popping up on my IMDb. That's when I know that I can talk about them. Actually, I have to go. It's on there. So I can talk about it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I got a cool little fan. If I want to nerd fan out a little bit, you know Pokemon.
Yeah.
You know that thing. Pokemon, which I didn't know until recently, is the most profitable IP in history.
Wow.
I looked it up. It's literally because I went. So my son, his cousin is 7, and he's into Pokemon. My son is 3, and so now all of a sudden he's into Pokemon, and I'm like, all right, man. You're into Pokemon. That's awesome. So I started to play on, if you got the Amazon, on the Amazon Prime Video, you got the original seasons of Pokemon. And Pokemon started like 1998, right? That's when I remember seeing it. I I was. I graduated school in the 1900s, my friends. I graduated school in the 1900s. So it was kind of lost on me. I was already aged out of Pokemon when it hit, but I remember it when it hit. But I still watched the show. I was super into like Dragon Ball. Like I loved that kind of stuff. But like the anime, the Pokemon show was great. So. Cut to, I'm part of a show from the same company that created Pokemon called Winsing, and they have this show in China. It's called GG Bond. It's been on for like 20 years, but they've revamped it and repackaged it and changed up and stuff and wanted to make it a little bit more global, and it is now called Kung Fu Pork Choppers. And the Kung Fu Pork Choppers.
It sounds like an app game.
Yeah, but it's a series. Look it up. You can see it. You can see a bunch of the clips on YouTube, I think, of Kung Fu Pork Choppers. But the cool nerd thing for me is that I get to play quite a few characters in this show. And the main pig, the main hero pig of the Kung Fu Pork Choppers is voiced by the great and beautiful Veronica Taylor, who is the original Ash Ketchum in Pokemon.
Whoa!
So it's pretty cool to be on that show with her, and she could not be lovelier. Anyway,
wow.
So that's a little.
Oh, that's neat. So you've got to actually like interact with her.
Yeah, well, we've done, as it's been in development, and we've been, they get made, and then when we get to the dubbing. Dubbing is a whole different beast for folk that don't know. Like, it's in one language, and then it has to get translated, and then it has to talk about lip sync, right? It's part of how I fell into dubbing was through puppetry, funnily enough. How it kind of becomes an innate skill to know how to lip sync and to match flaps. And they call it flaps for animation, to match the lip flaps for the dialogue that you're given. And so that becomes a timing thing, not too dissimilar to the way I was basically dubbing you as the characters, but using a puppet. But as a voice actor doing dubbing and doing anime, it's the same thing, right? You get the scene, you get the script, but through that process, it gets translated, and then it has to get adapted to kind of fit what has already been animated, because 9 times out of 10, the English translation of the original language, it's not going to fit with what it was animated in the original language, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. So then it goes through an adaptation process to kind of make it make sense and also make it fit the flaps. And then it becomes the dubber's job to be able to make that sync that timing and match the flaps with the new dialogue or the English dialogue that's been given. So, yeah. So there's been like Zooms and stuff like that and chats of all the characters and just kind of for each episode and just so everybody knows what's happening, because it's wild and wacky and it's fun.
Everybody should be on the lookout for that. That's Kung Fu Pork Choppers.
Kung Fu Pork Choppers. It's really fun and funny.
It feels like a sequel to Samurai Pizza Cats.
It does, doesn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, it's like they travel through space and they go to different dimensions and things and different planets, and they have superpowers, but then they lose the superpowers, and then they get armor like Power Rangers in order to get their superpowers, and they have vehicles and animals, so it's a combination of stuff. It's like Power Rangers meets pigs in space. To bring it back to the Muppets, it's like pigs in space.
It's like
with Power Ranger suits.
That's amazing.
Kung Fu Pork Choppers. Pretty fun. Well, anyway. There's that plug.
Sounds awesome, Nate. I'm glad that you are booked and blessed.
Booked and blessed, very busy always. Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Which is fun. I love it. Again, it's what we love to do.
Yes.
But Thomas, oh my gosh. But yes, my phone is always open for you. My calendar will get cleared. Hold all my calls. Cancel all my meetings. I gotta go to Thomas's house and film a puppet thing for 18 hours.
We gotta do something. It is always such a freaking joy talking with you.
Same, my friend.
I really appreciate it.
And thank you for doing this for Adam, doing this great live stream for Adam, and have so much fun on it. And
I appreciate it. Yeah,
we'll touch base soon.
See how these sock puppet creations.
I can't wait. Show me them. Send me a video.
I'll send you a picture.
I want a video. I want your sock puppet that you make to send me a video. Send a video to my son Breck.
Okay.
And be like, hey Breck, whoever that becomes to be, just say hi to Breck.
Breck. Yeah, Breck, when you get a little bit older, you're gonna stumble upon vines, and that was me.
You're like, remember, I sent you this sock puppet video when you were 3.
Next is gonna be vines. All right, Nick.
Awesome, my bud.
Appreciate it. I'm
so
glad
good to see you.
Doing well. So good seeing you too. Love you so much.
Love you too, buddy.
We'll talk soon.
All right, man.
I appreciate all of this. Thank you, dude.
Thank you, man. Have a good night. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Take care. You too. Bye.